that piece, it's entitled on how to make a slave, okay? And that piece is a departure from the work that I usually do. I usually do deal with cultural African portraits, you know, type of thing. This piece is kind of social, political, racial, you know. And it was inspired mainly, I was, you know, I do a lot of black history pieces. I think I might have been doing something on Frederick Douglass one time. And I was on a computer doing research. And I noticed, and when Frederick Douglass' book, he makes mention of a book that was written by a guy named Willie Lynch, I think, in 1712. And it was on how to make a slave, you know. And he was an English slave owner from the islands, West Indies. And he was invited to this country to give a lecture to southern plantation owners on how to manage their slaves and stuff. And within the Douglas's book, he reproduced it, and I read it, you know. And I was, I guess, so appalled, you know, at the practices that he, you know, at the systemized brutality, you know, that was done in order to, you know, keep a people down, not just at that time, but to do it in such a systemized way that for the next 100 years or so, you know, they would feel the effect of it. And that kind of inspired me so much that I would, you know, I started to do this piece. And in my day job, I'm an illustrator for the A&G newspapers, which is Oakland Tribune, and I do a lot of the editorial cartoons, and well, not cartoons, drawings, illustrations. And what I did was I collected a bunch of them, cut them out in squares, reproduce them. I put them around the main figure of the watercolor slave that I did. So that's the inspiration for that piece.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So what was it, what would you say the outrage was, kind of what kind of source within yourself that?
Well, it's kind of pretty obvious that the outrage comes from, you know, the atrocities that was done to my ancestors, you know. And it seems, you know, inhuman, you know, that somebody could think of these things and, you know, and not only think of them, but, you know, write it down as a formula for, you know, for practicing it, you know. So, and it affected me deeply, and that's why I did the piece.